Good day everyone and welcome to another tutorial. Today we will be covering how to glare the objects in your reflections as well as the other light sources in your scene. This applies to object lights, so this will apply to stuff in cycles as well as other render engines, as long as you can isolate them. Now I'm going to show you various ways of doing that, and let's get started. If you open Blender, you will have your default scene. I want you to take out everything except the camera and the light source, because we are going to make a little room. That's why I'm just added the cube. Let's turn on screencast keys so you guys can see what I'm doing too. Let's quickly make a door and a window. So that we have some light from an external source coming in. Okay, we already have the sun lamp. Just want to make sure that it will shine in through the door. It will. That's great. Let's add an object that will be our light. Let's use the doors. It's interesting. Let's just make it smooth. There we go. Let's rotate it. I'm going to be sticking this into the scene. Hold on a second, I just want to add some light sources to it first. Let's add let's add a few point lamps to it. And just one. Let's add a constraint to it, it's much easier. Copy location of the torus. Let's give it a value of 2 with a ray shadow. Okay, our torus is going to be our light. Call torus light. Say new. Go torus light. Okay, we're going to be giving it a very high emission value of 20, just to prove a point. And now we're going to place it inside the room. There we go. Nice huge light source. Now we need a mirror. There are some limitations with reflections in Blender's old render engine, but I really prefer the old render engine. It's just a case of personal preference. I know how to use cycles, I just prefer this. Sort of like a rotary phone, if you will. Let's go to give it a pass index of about 5. For now I'm going to be giving the mirror as well as our light objects the same pass index to separate them. There's really no solid reason not to do it that way, since the reflection is going to be just as bright as the rest of the scene. The only reason to do this is if you have other lights in the scene that you don't want to glare at all. Then you have a situation where you might have extra brightness in the scene or stuff like that. So if you want to, you can separate it. I think to make it work with most scenes, it's better to just separate them from the get-go. So let's separate them. Let's make this one 3. Okay, let's up the specularity and sharpen it. Okay, that's good. We want to prevent this from casting shadows, so take that off, and doesn't need to receive any shadows. Okay, that's good. Now let's move our camera into the room and see what it sees. See if we see our torus in the room. Haha, we do, we see it in the reflection. Let's just turn freestyle off. If you like that outline look, you can rather use edge, it's a little bit more efficient. There we go, let's put it on 1. And we can have a little bit of outline if you want to. You can do that. I prefer not. So I'm going to leave it off. I'm going to turn on compositing, and I'm going to change the color of the room. So let's say room color, and let's make it orangey type color. And you see that is because of the specularity in the mirror. So if you select the mirror and you turn that off, it's gone. Let's leave it off for the sake of the exercise. Okay, that's good. Let's keep the background as is. Let's give it some environment lighting. I'll leave it at 1. 1 looks nice. Let's save. And there we go, that looks very nice already. Okay, let's go into the compositing part. Objects that have a value higher than 1 in terms of brightness usually gets a little bit of an edge like this. Now go into your node editor. Let's get rid of all these extras, we don't need them. I'm not even going to use these, so let's get rid of those two. Okay. Let's go output viewer. I'm going to open the screencast keys for you guys on this side. So it's nice and visible. Just want to reduce the size of it. Let's make this one the UV image editor. Okay. And save. Okay, it doesn't do anything, you have to select and do stuff in there. Okay. I was hoping it would work. Now let's add our ID masks for the material index. One is 3 and one is 5. Don't distinctly remember, so we are going to label these nodes based on what they show. Okay, this is the mirror. No, the one that's selected is the light source. This one is the mirror. Okay, that's good. Now go color and mix. We need to isolate our light source only because that's the focus of this exercise. So it has to go into that one. Make this black. And go. Now you have a few options at this point. You can use a normalized node paired with a color ramp. It looks like this. Let me show you. Go to vector, normalize. See what it does? It makes this one and keeps your black your lowest value. So what it does is it squeezes in from a maximum of 20 to a minimum of 1, causing all the black to be squeezed into a very small area. So now you can go add a color ramp. Just close that down. There you go. See, now it's isolated. Now you can do this, or you can try to use just the color ramp. Which should, in most situations, give you a more consistent result. But if you have anything other than this that's white in the scene, you will get stuff like that. So this is also not really the best possible option. And another one you can do is you can also use luminance key. Use the matte, and that is also based on brightness, but it's a lot like the color ramp is, as you can see. So that's also not the most effective route. However, I will mention that the normalize works only with what is in the scene. Imagine like a camera shooting at an open door or something. It will focus on what is outside instead of inside, making everything inside darker and showing you what is outside. The only difference is that this is a per frame based system. So if your light source moves off the mirror by even a single pixel, it will change the output result. So this is something that you have to use with caution, if you will. You have to keyframe it if you want to use it. Talking about the normalized node, of course. In this case, though, I recommend it because it's our light source is surrounded by a very bright scene. So normalizing it is, unfortunately, in this case, the best possible solution, so we'll be using that. So let's use mix and add our other map over it so that both are isolated on the same mask. This one has to be 5. Okay, there we go. See, both were the mirror. Okay, now you have them isolated. I recommend clamping this one, otherwise you might get funny results from this one being higher than that one, or that one being higher than this one. Crossover stuff, it's just a big mess. Okay, so now we have a new mask. Add your original image to that mask. Wrong one, there we go. Make this one black. Now these have the brightness value that we have given them in our material. Now if you want to, you can also assign them a new brightness by adding them over each other, or using a color ramp, or whatever else means you wish, but the point of setting it up in the materials is so that it's already the correct brightness for your scene and what you want to accomplish. So now you can simply just add a glare node. Let's use streaks. I usually use 6 streaks on the 15-degree variable. Put the mix on 1 so you only have your glare instead of the image and the glare. 0 is image and glare, and -1 is no mix at all. See, it's there in the info. Okay, so we're going to use 1 threshold of zip, and yeah, that's about it. Let's add some color modulation to it. So it makes it almost warm. Excellent. Okay, let's duplicate that and give ourselves a little bit of a lens flare. Say a little bit of a lens flare. Okay, that's good. I just want to reduce let's add them over each other. This one I don't want as bright, so I'm going to reduce that. There we go. Okay, now you can add this over your original image. And there you go. Now your reflections glare just as well as your original light source does. I'm going to show you that this works if you adjust your scene so that you don't have bright spots like this. So let's select our light source and change it to be 1 or 0.5, for example. Now this is not technically consistent with the torus, but with the torus's emission value, but it does work. Now if you were to look at the output from the mix, let's go output viewer, and you go converter, color ramp, now you'll be able to take it out. You see? So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's really dependent on your scene. You just have to use discretion and really watch what you're doing for this method to be something that'll work for you. I want to show you something. Let's just turn the camera slightly. Actually, you know what? Let's move the torus. I want to show you what it looks like when the shape cuts off on the edge of the mirror. Okay, then we go now to editor. See? Still works properly. Well, I hope this has been informative for you. Obviously you don't technically blur indoor lights to this degree, but this is just showing you how to do it in an extreme. Next I'm going to show you how to use only a single ID mask to achieve the same result. It's a little more simple, but it doesn't work with every scene, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. So let's see what the light source one is. I'm going to use the light source one. I'm going to keep these for now. Just going to take that out, stick that in there, and we're not going to be needing that, so that goes directly in there. Taking this out, and that should do it. Now we just need to give our light source also index, our mirror also index of 5. It's our plane, index of 5, remember that out. See, there you go. Gives you the same result because the brightness out here is the same as the brightness in here. Again, we use the normalized one because in the previous case where the light source was brighter, it was the better usage. So there you go, already isolated. If you look at the normal, already nice. And if you wanted to, you could use luminance key. In this case it'll work again because the brightness of everything else is down. See? So it's really totally up to you what you want to do, what you want to use, how you want to use it. It's really user's choice. I hope this helps you. It's something really cool God showed me that I needed for a scene that I was working on yesterday, and I hope this helps you and enables you to do what you need to do when you have reflections in Blender. God bless.